Hello, my friends. It may be July, but the sleigh bells are ringing. It's the Minis Challenge Christmas in July, hosted by Crafted by Corie. Links to Corie's channel and the playlist will be in the description box. For this DIY, I'm using tumbling tower blocks. I want to make small, like a miniature crate for the tier tray. I'm going to use Gorilla Wood Glue so it's a permanent hold. So for the sides of the crate, I think about 3 stacks will be enough. And I'm also going to do one that's double that size with 6 blocks on each end. So I have a variation. Okay, these are dry. Go ahead and connect. I forgot to add a middle block, so I pulled the blocks apart, added the middle piece, reassembled everything, let it set up and dry so I could move on to adding the top supports. With my blocks put in the top position, I added tape to help support the blocks until the glue fully set up, and then I repeated the same steps with the larger pieces that I had glued together. And once all my glue had fully set up, I removed my tape and inspected both crates. They both came out looking really nice. For the larger one, a single piece of block in the middle wasn't going to be sufficient, so I did have to add craft sticks so that the bottom would be stable, so that I could add items in it, such as, candy or little pieces of florals. And then I moved on to adding my red paint once everything looked good with the crates. And the smaller one I decided to be red, and then I wanted a different color for the larger one. I decided to make that one white. With the paint dry on both of these, I have stamps from Hobby Lobby and red and white ink from Michael's. So I'm going to use opposing colors for each one. So the stamps I chose were Merry Christmas, a North Pole postage stamp, and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas for one side. For the front. So the other side I'll leave blank so that I just have variations in how I want to style it. If I just want to have a plain red crate facing, or if I want to have the Merry Christmas saying. And just a couple of bottle brush trees and some mints. I think these came out so cute, perfect for a tier tray. Nice variation in sizes. I can stack them up and use them as risers or put little pieces of decor in them. I love the little stamping. I like the way that came out as well. Let me know, what do you think of these mini crates? check out Crafted by Corie's channel. She's amazingly talented and such a sweetheart. Okay, so for this DIY, I'm using more tumbling tower blocks. You're gonna need 2 rows of 5 set up vertical. So that's 10 that will be glued together to make a larger wooden cutting board, and then just use another one for the top. I glued mine together with wood glue, and I used a little bit of wood filler for the gaps, and this should be your end result. Now what I'm gonna do is take my Dremel to kind of knock down these harsh edges, and I wanna add a little hole to add a piece of string. I'm not going to do anything with the bottom because right now it's able to stand, and I want to leave it that way, and I want this to be reversible. So and I think I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit off of this handle. And with all my drilling complete, I go ahead and I give this a coat of white apple barrel paint on both sides. And then I moved on to adding a recipe for sugar cookies on one side. I'm going to just hand write this so that it looks just like it would be if it was written on a recipe card. And the other side, I will have one of the farmhouse calendar Christmas pictures, good tidings of comfort and joy. Okay, so I have my recipe fully copied, and again I will have the link for this in the description box. So I have a couple pieces of clay from last year where I was making a bunch of like little sweets. So I'm going to paint these up to look like sugar cookies and place them at the bottom here. Fill in these holes with a little bit of wood filler, I think. I love having different little cutting boards for the different seasons in my tier trays, and I made this one a little bit bigger than usual because I wanted to be able to have the recipe fit and not have it look really squished. And then for the flip side, I'm using a calendar piece from the 2021 farmhouse calendar from Dollar Tree. I attach my piece with Avery glue stick, and then I trim around that piece with Christmas ribbon, also from Dollar Tree, the buffalo check with snowflakes and snow on it. All right, now I'll just add a little frosting to the top of the sugar cookies. with the paint dry, I use red and green paint markers to add faux sprinkles to the top of the cookies before I move on to adding glitterific to add a like sugary topping to make it really sparkle. And I just added a heading and just put sugar cookies, underlined it, hot glued my mini cookies to the bottom of this cutting board, and that was it for this DIY. This came out so adorable, especially sitting here with Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Let me know, what do you think of this double-sided cutting board? I think I should do other recipes, maybe gingerbread and chocolate chip cookies. I found this tissue paper at Dollar Tree last year. Thought it was just adorable with all these cups of hot cocoa, coffee, lattes, mints, and little gingerbread men hanging out in there. So I thought this would be super cute to add to one of the Dollar Tree battery LED candles. With my tissue paper cut, I just used satin Mod Podge and worked in small areas and worked my way all the way around the candle, smoothing it out as I went. And once I had it totally covered, I sealed it with that same satin Mod Podge, and that was it. And here's my completed candle lit up. This print is so adorable. It's fun and festive. Let me know, what do you think? For this DIY, I have a wooden paint your own ornament from Dollar Tree's last year. I believe they came out in the fall. Another faux treat from last year made with clay and a bit of red. So I think this will be really cute to have a little mug for Santa Claus. So just go ahead and get this painted with a flag red from Apple Barrel. I've already added a little wood filler to the hole in the top of this and my little cookies. I'm just gonna add just a base color of white before I add my 3D paint to really make the whip on top really pop out. And then I'll add light mocha to my cookie. I used DollarTree white 3D paint for my foam whip. And when I was finished with that, I used nutmeg brown from Apple Barrel to add the faux chocolate chips to my cookie. And once the paint was all dry, I used that same extreme glitter to add a glistening sugary effect to my chocolate chip cookie. And when my whipped cream 3D paint was all completely dry, I added it to that as well. Okay, so now my cup is ready for me to add my wording on the front. So I used a piece of painter's tape so my line would be straight, and I just used a white paint marker to write Santa on the front of the mug, and I used a tower block to support it. I'm just adding hot glue to add it to the back of the mug, and I added a red and white straw to appear that it's like coming out of the whipped cream to the back with hot glue as well. I hot glued on my little cookie, and then the last thing was just adding that glitter effect to my whipped cream. And here it is completed, a yummy cup of hot cocoa for Santa with a nice chocolate chip cookie and lots of whipped cream. For this DIY, I have an ornament from Family Dollar from last year. I think it's supposed to be a pie tin, but for me, I'm getting bottle cap vibes. So I'm gonna remove this and paint it red with flag red. And I found a small image of Santa Claus with a bottle of Coca-Cola. So I thought this would be really cute as like a Coke bottle cap ornament, or pizza decor to pop into the tier tray. Dual, dual purpose. It can still be an ornament, or it could just be tier tray decor. I removed the embellishments and added a little water to the top so the sticker would come off a bit easier, and started to scrape with my metal scraper, and it took a little bit, but I did get it off. And then I put just a little bit of Goo Gone to make sure that all of that stickiness was gone as well. Okay, so with that sticker completely gone, I'm going to go ahead and cover this bottle cap in flag red and just use my pouncer. The paint is all dry, so I'm going to go ahead and use Aleene's Tacky Glue on the back side of this, and then go over it with Mod Podge to seal it. Just a little bit of black on the chippy brush. And once the Mod Podge was dry, I used red and white gingham to add a hanger to the top. And then I took a little greenery from vase filler I'd found at Dollar Tree last year and some red pit berries just to add a little bit of a swag to the top as an added embellishment. And I like that better than the original greenery that came on the piece. I really love the Santa Coke ads. I'll have a link in the description box to Pinterest for some printable Santa Coke images. I have a few more of these ornaments, and I think I'll go ahead and just make a set of 4. I just love the way this turned out. Okay, so I saved the best for last. In this DIY, I have some alphabet stamps, a would-be garland from Walmart about 2 Christmases ago, wooden craft cubes from Dollar Tree, a couple of tower blocks, and a pack of, they're calling these mini embellishments, but they're little wooden people. So let's make a baby Jesus DIY. So I need to pull out cubes to spell out Jesus. And I'll go ahead and I want to glue one bead in between each block. Okay, so while this is drying, I'm gonna take my tower blocks, and I hope this works. I'm thinking if I glue the tower blocks together like that, then that will hold my baby Jesus. Like that. And that, I hope it'll sit up. So I'll add this glue, let it get a little tacky, and then attach it to my other block. And once the glue had set up long enough and my piece was movable, I started to stamp out Jesus with my little alphabet stamps. Both the stamps and the ink were purchased at Michael's. Okay, I have a little scrap of felt to swaddle my baby Jesus. So I think I'll just have him like wrapped like that. Just add a dab of hot glue to the top. I let the color soak in for a bit, and I used a dry paper towel to wipe the excess off because I really wanted the color to be deep. So I want to have a Star of Bethlehem over my baby Jesus. So I'm going to use this red floral wire and this little wooden star, both from Dollar Tree, and figure out exactly where I want to attach it on the piece of wood. And I just snip it with some of the garden snippers, also from Dollar Tree, and shape it like a shepherd's hook actually. And I added some Gorilla Clear Grip glue and let that sit and get tacky before I attach it, because I wasn't sure that hot glue would hold it. So I wanted just some extra protection with that Gorilla Glue. And then I added a soft yellow to my star and let that sit and dry. And once my glue was tacky, I found a spot to attach it. And then I added a piece of painter's tape just to hold it in place until it was set. And then I snipped off a few pieces of hula skirt. I found that at Dollar Tree just to make it look like hay, and set my baby Jesus in to see how he would fit. And then I just added some hot glue so that those strips would stay secure. And when the paint was dry, I just added my star to the top of my piece of wire, and that was it. And my little baby Jesus in his manger with the Bethlehem star above him. And with baby Jesus all wrapped up, I realized, you know what, I could have even glued 3 beads together and wrapped the felt around it, because all you're seeing is just a little piece of the face. So if you know you're going to recreate this, you can just do it with a couple of beads. But it came out so adorable. Jesus, the reason for the season. And here's how everything looks put together on a tier tray. I think everything just turned out so adorable. I love every single project, but baby Jesus has to be my favorite. Let me know which one is your favorite. I'll have a link for the playlist in the description box. Don't forget to check the playlist out. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Thanks so much. God bless you.